Welcome to the 2021 Economic and Preparation Channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me here on this Wednesday, last day of June 30th, 2021, Hump Day. Thank you for subscribing and your continued support. And today we're just going to be talking about the infrastructure plan as well as the looming employment situation. And the thing I bring this up is that in the past, when we had the Great Depression, we've had the New Deal, which brought a lot of jobs and a lot of new federal agencies and a lot of things corroborating to work together to bring jobs to the U.S. But this time, we won't have the luxury of having the jobs come as a result of a shovel-ready projects that they claim, that the administration claims, because the debt is higher and the economic growth engine has been shut down in the U.S. in terms of manufacturing and production. So President Joe Biden has been touting that he's been selling the infrastructure plan to both Republicans and Democrats as $1.2 trillion of spending over the next 5 years, billions to include roads, improve roads, bridges, and broadband access. And today he came on TV today talking about how he's going to pay the firefighters a minimum who's fighting the fires out west, because they have the heat wave and there are also fires out there in certain parts. He's going to pay them a minimum, firefighters, of $15 an hour and additional benefits. So he's doing all of these promises as part of the American Jobs Plan. But the problem is that who's going to pay for this? You and I is going to pay for this. And he calls this a generational plan that's going to create generational sacrifice. But how much sacrifice is too much to be able to handle in this economy that's already fragile? We've already spent $5 or $6 trillion, and we're not even out of President Biden's first year, and this is unbelievable. So this is going to continue, and what's going to happen is there's not going to be any new job creation as a result of the infrastructure spending, because the infrastructure spending is basically to convert over to electrical and solar the some of the existing power grid, some of the existing road surfaces, to put those sensors in the roads and sensors on the traffic lights to coordinate for all self-driving and all that stuff they want to do. The big companies want to do, like Tesla and all the other energy companies want to do. And so that's what that money is going for, and of course to the politicians. So the money is not going towards helping. Now, this would be a good idea. What if they took that $1.2 trillion and distributed it to Americans? They gave each American, 340 million Americans, they gave them, let's say, $50,000 to $100,000 to pay off debt, consumer debt, and to pay off student loans. That would be an absolutely blessing. Would it not be a blessing? And even to buy, that'd be some people's down payment on their house, so that this housing market cannot be more balanced. Instead of institutional money coming in and buying up neighborhoods, actual working families can get a decent house in a decent area of their city. That would be a better idea. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen. We have looming stagflationary crisis. Debt crisis will deliver a 1-2 punch to market and economies. Listen, we haven't gotten to the bad part yet. The fall is coming. And unfortunately, in the fall, when we go into stagflation and then hyperinflation and then down into deep deflation, once all is said and done, the high debt ratios, both public and private, is going to cause a severe debt crisis. Housing bubbles burst, and that's going to go to recession. The next recession is going to be a depression, because we've already had a recession. We're in a recession right now. And so because of loose monetary and fiscal policies, global debt reached a fresh record high in 2020. As you can see here, this is $355 trillion here of debt, global debt. And the United States leads the way. As you can see in this chart, the United States leads the way in dollars, global debt in U.S. dollars. The United States leads the way in debt. And so they're feeding these asset bubbles, but eventually what goes up must come down, just like a roller coaster. And you can see the employment situation here. This is the official news release here back in June the 4th, 2021 from the Bureau of Labor Statistics in D.C. May, the unemployment rate was declining to 5.8, but then it rose again back up to 6.5% in June, where we're at now. We lost another 400,000 jobs. We'll get the jobs report again tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, and I expect another 400,000 jobs to be lost here. And it's just going to be unbelievable here, because you look at the major worker groups, the jobless rate for adult men, adult women, blacks, Asians, so little change in May, but those increased in June, okay? And on top of that, the number of people who had permanent job losses back in May decreased by 295,000 to 3.2 million in May, but it's still 1.9 million higher than in February 2020. So we have all the labor has to absorb all of this into the labor market here, as you can see in the official report, and it's just not going to be able to do it, ladies and gentlemen, because not only are we losing jobs in the United States, we're losing jobs around the world to other countries in global competition with Russia, China, India, Singapore, Australia. We're losing jobs, and our economy is losing ground. And even with the teleworking and people working from home, it's just not enough to make up for the jobs here as well. Now, healthcare and social assistance services, they added 46,000 jobs in May, which is not a lot. They were some of the bright spots. As long as information technology, they added about 29,000 jobs. But there's just not a lot going on here, folks, who wants to really make an economy of anything. Average hourly earnings, here's a problem here. For those who are working, thank God getting a paycheck, but you increased by only 15 cents to $30, just a little over $30, an increase there. And so we haven't got a real wage increase in the last 40 years, and that's reflected here in this report. So the main thing is that instead of focusing on the national infrastructure, we're going to have to focus on our individual infrastructure in terms of surviving this collapse, which is going to take 10 years to 2031 to get fully processed. And the first stage of the collapse you need to prepare for is the housing collapse. So you need to secure your shelter, secure your food, your water, and your security and your preps. That's the first step. How can I be more self-sufficient off the grid, off reliant on this? Because we're going to experience a lot of things in that. And then the second step is, once the housing and the credit crash happens, the next step is we need to get into survival mode in terms of looking for ways that we can either make things last longer, make food, clothing, or something else last longer, or gain more skills. We need to go back while the libraries are still open and while these other places are still open on your computer. Download books on your Kindle, your phone. It's about survival books that you can use different things, different items that you have in your house already, like hydrogen peroxide or baking soda or whatever the item may be that you can use multiple uses for, apple cider vinegar. So that's going to be crucial too. So I just want to fill you in with today with this brief update about the infrastructure plan. It's still in talks, but we expect it to be passed by the end of July. And then from there, it's just a matter of spending money. Thank you very much for listening and have a blessed day. I'll talk to you very soon.